After my archenemy David lost his memory, he actually hugged me and said that I was his wife. I suddenly had an idea and took the opportunity to blackmail him, then give me the land in the east of the city. David rubbed his head against my arm and said, "Okay, what's mine is my wife's." I pressed the issue further, "Give me the pink diamond you bought at the last auction, too." "She should have been my wife's," David smiled innocently. I secretly rejoiced. After I got back everything I lost to David, I was about to leave when I heard him calling his assistant. "Hurry up and take back the project we bid for last time. My wife is about to run away." The story is about to begin. If you like it, remember to like and follow. I was trying to pry David off his feet when he had the car accident. "Assistant William, I admire your talent and ability very much. I will increase your current salary by 50%. You will have better opportunities for promotion if you come to the Linda family. Since I can't beat David, I will poach the talents around him." Seeing William sitting upright, I continued my attack. "If you have any requests, you can just bring them up. We can discuss anything, right?" The man took a sip of the coffee on the table and said respectfully, "Boss Linda, don't test me. I will never betray Boss David." I was puzzled. "Did David save your life? You are so loyal to him." He said seriously, his eyes firm, "Yes." I was speechless for a moment. Just when I was about to continue attacking, my mother, who was traveling, called me. "Hello? Mom, you and Dad went out to have fun, how come you still have time to call me?" Ever since my dad handed over the company to me, he took my mom to fly around the world, saying that he wanted to make up for the regrets of his youth, leaving me alone to work like a slave in the company. "Honey, David was in a car accident, go check on him." "What? David had a car accident? What does his car accident have to do with me?" Although I said this, my heart tightened inexplicably. If you listen carefully, there is a hint of panic in my tone. "What are you talking about? You are all good neighbors. This child has been without a mother since childhood, and your father David doesn't know how to take care of people." My mother started again. "You only say these two sentences every time. Linda, don't play tricks on me. Just go when I tell you to." My originally gentle mother gradually became irritable and hung up the phone without waiting for my reply. "Ah, you didn't tell me which hospital it was, how can I get there?" When William heard that David had a car accident, he was more anxious than I was. He got up and walked away quickly while calling to find out what happened. Seeing this, I hurriedly followed him. When we arrived at the hospital, David had already woken up, with a bandage wrapped around his head. Wife, when he saw me, David's originally dull eyes instantly brightened up. When I heard this name, I got goosebumps all of a sudden. "What are you yelling about? Stop disgusting me." After I scolded David, he pouted his lips in grievance, looking pitiful. What happened to David? How could he have a car accident? It was as if he had been possessed by another spirit. "You are the patient's family members, right? How do you act as family members? No one has come for half an hour. If you had come a little later, the patient would have recovered." When the doctor spoke, there seemed to be a hint of contempt in his eyes when he looked at me. I was about to retort when William came forward to ask about David's condition. "Nothing serious, he just hit his head and suffered temporary amnesia." At this time, David was hugging my arm and rubbing it coquettishly. "Wife. David lost his memory? And he still thought I was his wife? What a dramatic scene." I wanted to shake off his hand and take the opportunity to gloat over his misfortune, but suddenly an idea struck me. "Since I'm your wife, why don't you give me the land in the east of the city?" I was just saying it casually, not holding out any real hope. After all, David usually guards against me like a thief, and I can never find a way to break through. Unexpectedly, David just smiled and rubbed my arm. "Okay, what's mine is my wife's." Is he that easy to control? I have been fighting with David for so many years, and he always has the upper hand over me. I can finally take advantage of his amnesia and trick him. I struck while the iron was hot. "Give me the pink diamond you bought at the last auction as well. She should have been my wife's." He smiled dotingly. I was secretly happy. Just when I was secretly feeling proud, William beside me coughed lightly and said, "Boss David, the land in the east of the city is very important for the promotion of David's family project. Please think twice." I glanced at him sideways. Why is this guy like this? He always gets in my way of bringing down David. "Honey, who is he?" David asked me, tilting his head. I patted David's head like a docile puppy, raised my proud head and looked at William, and said proudly as if showing off to him, "He is just an unimportant person." William hesitated to speak, but finally held back what he was about to say. "Linda, David's father is on a business trip, please take care of David. I have to go back to the company to handle business first. After saying this, he looked at David with complicated eyes. I squinted my eyes and looked at him. His eyes were not innocent. When he was about to leave, I called him back. He turned around and looked at me in confusion. Assistant William, please draft a transfer contract for the land in the east of the city. He looked at David for advice. David didn't have the heart to think about these things. He just kept leaning against me and said, "Why are you looking at me? Listen to my wife. Just do whatever my wife says." William visibly gritted his teeth and finally said through gritted teeth, "Okay, I'll do it right away." I never thought that David, who is usually cold and ruthless, is actually a wife slave. "Wife, I don't like the smell of the hospital. Can we go home?" He opened his wet eyes and looked at me pitifully like a child. "Ah? Go home? Then wouldn't it be revealed that I'm not his wife?" I smiled innocently, "Haha, no, you just had a car accident, you should stay in the hospital for observation." "You should stay in the hospital." David started to act like a spoiled child. "No, I want to go home. Didn't the doctor say there's nothing wrong with me? I don't feel any pain, and it's totally fine for me to go out and run a couple of laps." It made me sweat profusely, but I couldn't persuade him anymore, so I finally chose to go home. Our two families are very familiar neighbors. When I was a child, I often went to his house to play. When David's father was busy, David would also stay at my house. We are neighbors, we were and we are neighbors now. After graduation, I moved out of my home and started living alone. I thought that after moving out of my home, I could get away from this man who always opposed me. On the second day after moving in, I was stretching leisurely on the balcony, and then I saw David on the balcony next door. He was wearing silk pajamas, holding a cup of coffee leisurely, looking very noble. "Why are you here?" I asked in surprise. He didn't seem shocked at all, and took a sip of coffee slowly. "What a coincidence, we are neighbors again." I narrowed my eyes, frowned, and looked at him with a questioning look. "David, you really are haunting me. What a coincidence. I think you did it on purpose." Seeing how furious I was, David was not arrogant or impatient, and even smiled. "I decided on this house right after it was put on the market. If I remember correctly, you bought it not long ago. In that case, can I suspect that you have bad intentions towards me?" I was speechless with this sentence. In a rage, I picked up the watering can beside me and sprayed him with water. Even if I was planning something bad to the homeless person on the street, I wouldn't have the slightest thought of you. Stop flattering yourself. Linda. Seeing how miserable he was after being soaked all over by me, I ignored his shouting and went back to my room with satisfaction. Since then, we have continued to bicker and steal business as usual. A while ago, I was so angry that I boiled some water and sneaked into his house to water the money tree he planted. I didn't expect that when I opened the door of his house, I saw the almost withered money tree, which made me feel guilty. After opening the door, David walked in and looked around. "Wife, why are there none of your things in the house?" When I faced his question, I had actually already thought of the words on the way. "It's because we had a fight, so I ran away from home and moved all my things with me." He hooked my little finger and said, "I'm sorry, honey. I will never make you angry again. Can you move back home?" "No. That's impossible. If I move in, we'll have to sleep in the same bed, and that would be a mess." "Oh, I mean my dad isn't home lately and I have to stay home with my mom." Fortunately, I thought quickly and found a perfect excuse. "Anyway, my parents aren't home right now, and David has lost his memory, so he probably doesn't remember that I live next door. Have a good rest. I'm going back to your mother-in-law's house first. I'll come to see you tomorrow." I was about to leave when the frowning man held my hand and said, "I'll take you there." I quickly pulled my hand back. How could this work? If he knew I was next door, wouldn't I be exposed? It would be bad if he kept clinging to me and wanted to go home with me. "Haha, no need. You just had a car accident. You should rest at home. Good night, baby. Go to bed early. I'll leave first." He looked at me reluctantly. "Okay, come early tomorrow. Or I can go back with you." "I want to stay with you." Why is David so clingy? "Be good, I will come early tomorrow and have some rest early." After saying that, I didn't argue with him anymore and quickly slipped away. After returning home, I looked at the neighbor from the balcony. The lights in the living room were off, and the lights in his room were on. I instantly breathed a sigh of relief. I don't know how this will end, but I can imagine how gloomy David's face will be when he regains his memory. Thinking of this, I laughed out loud for no reason. I didn't expect that David could play you in my hands. After taking a nice bath, I watched short videos in bed. David's messages kept popping up. Wife, I can't sleep without you. If you want to sleep with your wife in your arms, or you can tell your mother-in-law to come and accompany me. I am an injured patient. Do you have the heart to abandon me alone at home? Seeing this, I couldn't help but sigh. He had been sleeping alone for more than 20 years, so how could he not be used to sleeping alone after hitting his head? There were also injured patients, and they had told him to stay in the hospital, but he insisted on going home. But I still tried my best to comfort him. Be good, my mom is scared to sleep alone, I will go over to accompany you when my dad comes back. The next second, he sent me a photo. He's cheating. He actually sent me a picture of his abdominal muscles in the middle of the night. In the end, I couldn't stand the psychological struggle and clicked on the large picture to appreciate it carefully. He must have just taken a shower, and there were a few drops of water on his strong muscles, which made him look even more powerful. I have to say that this boy is excellent in both appearance and figure. When I was immersed in it, he sent me a voice message. Honey, look, there is a mosquito bite on my waist, please comfort me. When I heard this voice message, I burst out laughing. How come after losing his memory, his cool and intelligent personality completely collapsed? What a cheap trick, that bag can be fixed without pinching across. If you want to show off your body to seduce me, just say it directly, and you are so stuffy. What a cheap trick. Just when I was laughing at him, he sent me another picture. This time I didn't dare to laugh anymore and threw my phone away. Is this allowed? How dare he do that? Even if it was blurred, I still couldn't bear to look at it. The message beeps kept ringing, and I was mentally prepared before picking up the phone. The page was still on the photo. I clicked on the voice message from David. I wanted to hear what he meant. At this moment, he popped up a voice call, and I accidentally pressed the answer button. Unexpectedly, what I heard was even more unbearable. Well, wife. I heard his slight panting and rustling sound from the other end of the phone. What is he doing? David, shut up. No, stop it. Not only did he not listen to me, he was even more excited. Honey, keep calling my name, I want to hear your voice. That's enough, David. How come you're in heat even though your brain is damaged? He didn't seem to be listening to me, just immersed in his own world. Baby is great, keep talking. Later I couldn't stand it anymore and just hung up the phone. David is totally different today, he lost his usual calmness and was left with a bit of sultry. I couldn't help but blush when I thought of him doing such a shameful thing just a few walls away from me. After a while, he sent 2 more messages. This time I didn't have the courage to open them again, so I just continued to watch short videos to divert my attention. But I couldn't concentrate. In the end, I still failed and opened the message page. It's so comfortable to listen to my wife's voice, thank you, wife, accompanied by a hand with bulging veins, it shows full tension. Sure enough, I shouldn't have opened it, and I feel like my phone is dirty. David, you are a pervert. Stop sending me weird stuff. I am really impressed. The man on the other side was still aggrieved. We are husband and wife, isn't this normal? Besides, I can't hug or touch you now, I miss you so much. This must be David's revenge on me. We have fought for so many years, but now is the moment when the damage is the greatest. I simply threw my phone aside, stopped replying, and went to sleep. I don't know if it was because I was upset, but I couldn't fall asleep no matter how hard I tried. Finally, I opened my phone and clicked on the voice message he sent earlier, hiding in the bed and listening. But putting aside other things, this guy's voice is really nice. The next day, I came to the company early to avoid David. I thought I could avoid him for a short time, but I didn't expect that this man would come to Linda's family and was stopped outside by my assistant. David, you can't go in. Our boss Linda said that you and your dog are not allowed to enter. I ran out of the office quickly, trying to cover her mouth, but I was a step too late. David's face was already very dark. I smiled awkwardly and pulled David into my office to the shock of all the employees. After entering, I did not forget to close the door tightly and pull down the blinds to prevent any thoughts of eating melons from outside. I then turned around with a sigh of relief. David came over with a wronged look on his face, hanging on my shoulder like a well-behaved puppy, and put his arms around my waist. Wife, why don't you reply to my messages? You are cruel, indifferent, and heartless. I am hurt and you don't care about me. Who is this cute and docile puppy in front of me? Who took over the body of the previously cool David? I touched David's head and comforted him. I'm working. If I don't come out to work, how can I get the money to feed you, right? So don't be unreasonable. The tone of my voice was like coaxing a child. Anyway, he had lost his memory, so it didn't matter what I said. The reason I can do this is really not because of the things he has that I want, absolutely not. David was stunned for a moment, then he rubbed my neck. I know my wife is the best. The next second, I pushed him away mercilessly, so you go home and don't disturb me while I'm working. He raised the document in his hand, sat down on my office chair unceremoniously, and took out a contract from the folder. The transfer contract of the land in the east of the city. Since my wife doesn't want me to disturb her work, I have to go home first. Let's talk about the contract later. Seeing David was about to pack up the documents and stand up to leave, I quickly pressed his shoulders and asked him to sit down again. No, why would I bother you? I'm so happy that you're here. I don't know if it was my illusion, but I seemed to see a flash of his smile, a very proud smile. When I wanted to confirm it again, it disappeared. Maybe I saw it wrong. Just as I was about to take the document from him, the man quickly raised it. I looked at him in confusion. Would he go back on his word? He said he had recovered his memory and was just teasing me? But the next second he turned into a pitiful puppy, holding my hand and acting like a spoiled child. So why doesn't my wife allow me to enter your company? She also said that dogs and I are not allowed to enter. I was really impressed. It was because we had been enemies for many years and we fought each other every time we met. I couldn't defeat him every time. In order to avoid unnecessary tension, I chose to solve the problem from the root. Besides, who would let the enemy enter their territory? That was just my angry words, baby. I just said those words in anger after you made me angry and we had a quarrel. Don't take it to heart. I said as I snatched the contract from his hand. But he suddenly pulled me and I sat on his lap. The sudden feeling of weightlessness made me subconsciously hug his neck. We were only a finger's distance apart. How can David's skin be so good? Without any makeup, yet without a single flaw. And his facial features are so perfect that there is nothing wrong with them. Suddenly I remembered my middle school days when almost all the girls in the school were attracted to him. Although I was still stubbornly arguing with him at that time, I did blush secretly. Just as I was intoxicated by his looks, his Adam's apple suddenly moved. He leaned forward a little, held my head and kissed me. At that moment, my mind went blank, as if fireworks were set off. My mind was filled with smoke after the fireworks burst, and it became blank. When I reacted, my eyes widened and I wanted to push him away. This reaction caused his dissatisfaction, and one big hand tightly hugged my waist and pulled me forward a little. Then the man deepened this sudden kiss. Seeing that I couldn't break free, I bit David's mouth hard. David let me go in pain. I looked at him with a slight gasp. His mouth was bitten by me and there was a little blood stain. What are you doing? I put my hand on his chest in a bit of a panic. This was my first kiss. I'd been in love before, but all my previous boyfriends were scared away by David before they even held hands, let alone kissed. I think he was just angry that he didn't have a partner, so he wanted me to have no partner either. After that, I didn't want to talk anymore, and I was concentrating on scheming against him. David raised his hand and gently wiped the corner of his mouth with his thumb, looking very rude. Wow, I kissed my wife, why did you bite me? Can't even kiss me? Well, the filter just now is shattered. He is still himself, still the amnesiac, love-brained green tea guy. This is an office. How can you do such a thing? I asked. So what my wife means is that we can do it somewhere else. He asked back. Damn it, he found something on me. I stopped discussing this with him, stood up from him, picked up the contract and looked at it carefully. Then let's sign the contract today, since we are here, don't you think so? I signed my name in a casual manner and handed the document to David. He looked at me and indicated that it was his turn to sign. He took it, curled his lips, and left his name. After seeing him sign, I couldn't help but feel happy. He gave it to me voluntarily, I didn't force him. Okay, you go back first and I'll start working. I returned to my ruthless working state. He didn't get angry, but just hugged me from behind and kissed my cheek. Then come back early, my wife, I'll prepare dinner and wait for you at home. My heart beat faster unconsciously. Damn, he was a little foul. I nudged him with my elbow and broke free from his arms. Okay, let's go now. I have a meeting later. At this moment, I felt like a scumbag who was used and thrown away. Okay, bye, honey. He reluctantly opened the office door, but a bunch of eavesdroppers rushed in. Looking at the gossiping employees, I gritted my teeth and said, "Don't you think you have enough work? Get ready for the meeting." Seeing that I was angry, they all dispersed, and when they left, they glanced meaningfully at David's cracked mouth. For some reason, David seemed to be in a good mood. I'm leaving now, honey. Bye. The moment the door closed, I breathed a sigh of relief. This world is crazy after all. At this time, the assistant came in. Are you okay, Boss Linda? She dared to come in? If she hadn't said that, would I have had to work so hard to coax a man? I glared at her. She looked at me cautiously and whispered. Boss Linda, do you want to fix your makeup before going to the meeting? I quickly took out the mirror. My hair was a little messy, my face was flushed, and my lip makeup was smudged. Why didn't David remind me? Was he afraid that others wouldn't know what he and I did in the office? I admire him. When have I ever been so embarrassed in the company? I coughed lightly with some embarrassment. I know, you can go out first. After she left, I held my forehead with my hand and smiled bitterly, then I tidied myself up before going to the meeting room. I still went to David's place in the evening. After all, he said he would prepare dinner for me when I came back. Apart from anything else, David's cooking skills are really amazing. In the past, whenever I ate the food he cooked, I basically liked him a lot better. But I left again after dinner, just like yesterday. This kind of life of working during the day and going to his house for dinner at night has continued for a few days. During this time, I accompanied him to the hospital to change the medicine. I even think that David and I can still get along well after losing his memory. But at a dinner party, I actually saw him dressed in a proper manner, chatting happily with a business partner. I told him that I had an appointment that day and would not go back for dinner. I didn't expect to see him outside, and he even took off the gauze on his head. He didn't look like a person who had lost his memory. I picked up the wine glass and walked towards him holding my skirt. When I was 4 or 5 meters away, he must have seen me. I caught a glimpse of panic in the man. I don't know what he said to the person he was talking to. The man looked up at me and left. Wife, why are you here too? He asked. I carefully observed his state, narrowed my fox eyes and questioned him. Shouldn't I be the one asking you this? Why are you here? Instead of staying at home to take care of your brain, you go out to socialize. I don't think there's anything wrong with your brain. At this time, I already suspected that he was pretending to have amnesia. The man naturally took my hand and asked me to hold his. It's all my special assistant's fault. Even though I'm in this state, he still wants me to come out to the dinner. He said he couldn't refuse, and I can't do anything about it, honey. Sure enough, it was that William again. That guy just now. I saw you were having a very pleasant conversation with him. There is nothing between him and me. He came to talk to me on his own initiative. He talked about some project or cooperation. I don't remember it. He just said a few perfunctory words. This man's words were well reasoned. Okay, I'll believe him for now. After all, if it was in the past, how could he have had the patience and tone to explain to me? At this time, a woman dressed in fancy clothes came over. To be more precise, she walked towards David. David, long time no see. She said in an extremely polite and respectful tone, and then looked at me. Linda, you are here too. The latter sentence turned into a disdainful tone. What do you mean by I'm here too? Am I something shameful? I'm so disgusting. Linda, you are too shameless, aren't you? You know David hates you so much, but you still come to lick him. You should be smart and leave. This woman relies on her father's status and never takes me seriously. She often treats me as an imaginary enemy. I think she is just too idle. She should find a class to go to and be honest. David was about to speak, but I beat him to the punch. I moved closer to David and tightened my grip on his arm. Honey, did you hear the sound of the flies? They're so smelly and noisy. When he heard me address him, his body stiffened instantly, and he looked at me blankly. He understood what I said and agreed. Yes, honey, I am a little annoyed. Then, shall your husband take you home? The woman pointed at us in disbelief. How could you? I originally thought that David was trying to take me away by holding my waist, but I didn't expect that he was asserting his sovereignty. My lady, I hope you won't speak ill of my wife again, otherwise I will definitely take certain measures. Also, I don't know where you heard that I hate my wife so much. I want to clarify here, I love her to the extreme, please don't make the mistake again. Hearing these words, I subconsciously looked up at him. At that moment, I admit that my heart was pounding. His charm was simply off the charts. But the next second, the calm David disappeared and rubbed me as usual. Honey, let's go home. I haven't eaten yet. I'm starving. Well, it's still that delicate big man. Okay, go back, I'll make you some instant noodles. If I don't want to eat instant noodles, I have another choice. I always feel that there is something meaningful in what he said. David drove here by himself, so I asked the driver to go back first. After getting in the car, David leaned over and I subconsciously stepped back. What are you doing? He didn't say anything, but slowly approached. I subconsciously closed my eyes. I thought I would feel the warmth, but it didn't come. I opened my eyes and saw him so close. Seeing my reaction, he curled his lips into a smile and reached out to help me fasten my seatbelt. What does my wife think I'm going to do? I felt embarrassed that my thoughts were exposed, and my face instantly became hot. No, I didn't do anything, I just fastened my seatbelt, haha. I smiled awkwardly, trying to hide my guilt. Then David suddenly kissed me on the lips without warning, with sound effects. After the kiss, he did not forget to tease me. Since my wife has this need, I still have to satisfy it. Even my foundation couldn't cover the blush on my face, and I pushed him away in anger. Who needs anything? Just drive. David chuckled, which reached my ears and made me even more shy. After arriving home, I thought David would cook. After all, he said he didn't want to eat instant noodles and he had other plans. Unexpectedly, the first thing he did when he got home was to carry me to the shoe cabinet at the entrance. I was so scared that I subconsciously hugged his neck. What are you doing? Aren't you hungry and you want to cook? He kissed me naturally, so naturally that I almost took it for granted. His low and hoarse voice came from my ear. Yes, I'm hungry and want to cook. I was confused. Why did I feel that his words meant something else? Wife, can you call me husband again? My feeling was right. The next second he hugged me and started to nibble on me. When I realized what was happening, I quickly pushed him away. Don't. He seemed not to hear me and kissed my earlobes and collarbones. David, please don't. I'm on my period. He stopped immediately after hearing what I said, his eyes full of lust. He stared at me for a long time. I thought my lie was exposed. Unexpectedly, he hugged me down the next second and sighed softly. Go sit on the sofa and play with your phone for a while, I'll go cook. I couldn't help but chuckle as I watched him go to the kitchen. This guy is pretty cute. Suddenly I thought of what I was doing and shook my head. No, if I keep going like this, I will be seduced by him. He has only lost his memory now, but when he regains his memory, he will become the cold-blooded, ruthless, and selfless David who opposes me everywhere. I better wake up and take some action. A few days later, I got back a lot of things from David. I got back all the things I lost to him. But I didn't seem to be very happy after getting these. When he went for another checkup, the doctor said that David was fine and the blood clots in his brain had all gone away. He would probably recover his memory soon. I don't know why, but selfishly, I don't really want him to regain his memory. David is still very lovable even without memory loss. But I can imagine what David will look like after he regains his memory. So I made preparations early on and planned to go abroad for a while before he recovered his memory. I would temporarily hand over the company to my father and come back after the storm had passed. I had packed my luggage at home and bought my plane ticket, planning to have my last meal at David's place and then leave. When I first entered his house, I was wondering why no one was home, but the lights were on. I walked towards the room and found him on the phone. William, hurry up and take back the project we bid for last time. My wife is about to run away. Not knowing what the other party said, David was a little furious. Don't call me brother. It's useless to call me dad. If you let her know that I'm pretending to have amnesia, I won't be able to chase my wife, so get out of here. After saying that, he hung up the phone. My face was already as black as charcoal. David turned around and looked me in the eye. At that moment, he was visibly panicked. Honey, when did you come? Why didn't you call me? I crossed my arms and looked at him. Oh, you still call me wife. David's acting is really good. It's a pity that he didn't enter the entertainment industry. I was about to turn around and leave, but he hugged me from behind. I'm sorry, I was wrong. If I'm sorry, why do we need the police? I blurted out this sentence subconsciously, and suddenly I found it very funny and couldn't help laughing out loud. It completely destroyed my cool and aloof image when I was angry. To ease the embarrassment, I broke away from him and continued to confront him. David, you use such a despicable method just to play with me? Do you think this is fun? This guy seduces me in different ways every day, and when he gets me, he kicks me away. What a good game of chess. I just wanted to make our relationship less strained and ease it a little. When we were little, I made you angry in order to get your attention, but I don't know why the situation became increasingly out of control. I didn't mean to confront you head-on, maybe the way I expressed it was wrong, David said seriously. Seeing his sincere look, I was speechless. You What nonsense are you talking about? You always snatch my projects and even snatch my favorite pink diamond at the auction. David walked to the cabinet and took out a box. He opened it and placed it in front of me. This was originally taken for you. I hope that the things you like are all given to you by me, so that you can think of me when you see them. As for those projects, some are really not suitable for you. I don't want you to be so tired. I want to complete the project before giving it to you. What a cheap trick. How can a person with high IQ have such low EQ? Is it so difficult to just say I like you? Why do you have to use these weird methods? It's really unconventional. I looked at him expressionlessly, and he seemed even more panicked. Yes. I'm sorry, honey, please forgive me from now on. What's mine is yours, please don't be angry, okay? This spoiled bastard. I held back my smile and said seriously, who is your wife? Please watch your words. Seeing that I was no longer angry, he became bolder and kissed my cheek. Does that mean you forgive me? It wasn't a big deal, and it was probably the right thing for him to try to ease our relationship in this way. Besides, we got along really well during this period, and my emotional value was also very high. I pouted proudly, it depends on your performance. Then this man lifted me up, laid me on the bed, and pressed me down. I looked at him in horror. What are you doing? It was so sudden. He kissed my eyes and eyebrows. Didn't my wife say that she would watch my performance? Then I have to perform well. I kicked him away. What are you thinking about all day long? He came over again. I think about my wife all the time. I smiled helplessly and said, go away. Then after thinking about it, I said again, if you want me to be your wife, then quickly prepare to propose.